Welcome everyone. Hope you are all in a good mood today and you are looking forward to see something new, something that hasn't been covered before. So, what is this stream about? As you see in the description, I'll be commentating on the games which Kirill Alekseenko will be playing versus the lucky winners of Checkmate Coronavirus project. Some of you may remember that I was speaking about this project when it started. Perhaps some of you even participated in it. If yes, please leave your comment and tell us about your experience, how it was for you. If you didn't hear about the project before, I will quickly provide you with some information about it. And before this stream, I got some interesting facts with statistics. From May 18 until June 16, FIDE joined forces with major internet chess platforms in organizing more than 250 online tournaments. Checkmate Coronavirus tournaments were played at lichess.org, chess.com, chess24.com, and FIDE Online Arena. Almost 80 tournaments were played each day, and they were open to all chess players. In the end of this project, it was announced that no other international sports federation and no other official organized sport event has ever reached the numbers achieved in June by FIDE's Checkmate Coronavirus initiative. 520,000 entries, 120,000 unique participants from at least 140 countries in a marathon of 720 non-stop hours and 2,762 tournaments. Just imagine how huge it was and how many people took part in the event. But besides playing in the tournaments, all participants were also participating in the lottery. They all were eligible to win a prize no matter what their result in the tournament was. The major prizes of the Checkmate Coronavirus project were 64 invitations to Moscow Chess Olympiad and 50 mini-matches with top grandmasters. Invitations and matches were won by players from at least 34 countries. 27 prizes were won by chess.com users, 25 lucky winners were from lichess.org, 8 and 4 winners were playing on chess24.com and FIDE Online Arena respectively. But that was not all. More than 1,300 minor prizes were distributed among the participants of this project. They were 2 hours online masterclasses and Checkmate Coronavirus souvenirs. These lotteries, where the players could win the prizes, were conducted by Elizabeth Pets and Anish Giri. They were streamed live, so in case you won the prize, it's partly thanks to Elizabeth and Anish. In case you were not among the lucky winners, well, that happened also partly thanks to Elizabeth and Anish. Let's move on, and now we start with the series of mini-matches between the winners of this prize and top grandmasters. Kirill Alekseenko is the first to take on opponents, and let's take a look what's happening at the game. We see that actually too many things has happened. I will tell you for the beginning that Kirill's nick is below do. It's not so clearly seen that it's Kirill, but yes, it's Kirill, and this game he's actually playing with white pieces, so I believe it's better actually to flip the board just a second so that it's more convenient to watch it. Yeah, so that you can see that white pieces are next to Kirill, while his first opponent for today, the first lucky winner, is George Perdikulis from Greece, and his nick is Call Me Perdy. He's rated 1372 And yes, he's the first opponent, the first time we see these matches. And let's take a look how the game started and what was happening in the game. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4 was played by Kirill. By the way, if you wanna improve your skills in Italian game, do follow Kirill's game, because he has played a lot of games in this line and he really feels the position and the plans very well. So do take a look at his games so that you can imply these ideas in your own games. What happened later on? Knight f6, d3. Before we proceed, one more important point is that these two games will be played with draw odds. Kirill will have 10 minutes while his opponents will have 20. So that's why you can see that actually white has less time, but it's not because of they thought a bit longer, but it's mainly because in the beginning they simply had twice less time. So d3, bishop c5, castle, castle, c3, d6, knight bd2, bishop g4. Usually black shouldn't play bishop g4 because the problem is that after bishop g4, rook e1 was played by Kirill, and why it's not so good to place the bishop on g4 is because later on white will push h3, and when the bishop goes to h5 to keep this spin, then white has the plan of maneuvering the knight to f1 and g3, and then the bishop on h5 doesn't really feel comfortable. So queen d7 was played. Kirill didn't go for h3. Perhaps he was a bit unsure what would happen after bishop h3, d takes h3, queen g3. Indeed, it's not so clear, and it actually looks quite dangerous because queen g3 is the threat. Knight g4 is a very serious threat, putting the pressure on it. I think if I were on Kirill's place, I wouldn't have gone for that either. So Kirill played a4. It's a very typical move in the Italian game. The game proceeded with b6. By the way, we may try to play... What will happen after b4? Actually, this move was played, so perhaps this was a blunder from Kirill's opponent. Yes, you should really take care of this bishop, because after a4 it's actually a threat. White is threatening to play b4, bishop b6, and trap the bishop by playing a5. So black had to play a6 or a5, in my opinion. These are two like the best moves to avoid this trap, but b6 was played. b4 was Kirill's reaction. Then the game proceeded with a5, b takes c5, b takes c5, but okay, it's like winning the piece for just one pawn. Good trade for white, but not a good one for black. What happened later on? Knight f1, the plan I mentioned you. The plan I was mentioning. Now d5 was played, e d5, knight d5, bishop d5, queen d5, knight g3. So now Kirill is trying to trade as many pieces as possible, because when you have material advantage, you have to trade them, and then it's easier to convert your advantage. Queen e6 was played, one more piece is gone, bishop a3, attacking the c5 pawn, knight b4. Wow, it was another sacrifice, but it kind of makes some sense, because if you don't complicate the matters, white will simply put more pressure on all these pawns, which are a bit weak. Also, this pawn is potentially a target. So knight b4 was played, but white simply took one more piece, and here we are, yes, just taking some pawns. Once again, attacking the queen. The queen is under the attack now. Queen a6, queen b3. So it's already just two pieces. What was played? Let's go back to the game. In fact, Kirill already won that game. It just lasts for a few more moves. So what happened here? Knight g4 was played, queen a6, queen b3, h5, attacking the knight, queen c3. Wow, that was a threat, but unfortunately opponent didn't see that mate is threatening. Opponent played g6, but still it's queen g7, even queen h1, queen h8 could also be a mate. So here we are. It was the first game. One more game will be played soon. I'll just check. Maybe it already started. Just a second.
Anna, can you hear me?
Yes. Have you started a new game? Kirill? I think Kirill wanted to ask some question, but then he changed his mind. Or yes, we will see what's going on. If the next game will start soon. Just waiting for confirmation, because the opponents are challenging each other. I see that the game is not on progress yet. So maybe we can just have a quick chat with the players and let's speak about their first impressions, how the game was. So I would like just to ask people who are responsible for the chat can you please unmute George so that he shares his thoughts with us? I believe the viewers will be interested to hear. I see Kirill's sound is already okay. Yes, both of the players are. Yeah, we can hear you. Hello, guys. Hello, Kirill. Hello, George. Really nice to see you here. So please tell us a bit about the game. How was it for you to play it? I think I'll first start with George, because with Kirill I'll have more time. He will play 2 more matches after that,
Anna,
and also 1 game with you. Yes, so my first question to George. George, please, you are the first player, you are the first lucky winner. How do you feel about it? And what were your thoughts when you were informed you became the winner and you would get right to play versus a Grandmaster? George, can you hear us? I am not sure George heard us. Some technical issues. George, can you hear us now?
Yes.
Okay, finally, it was solved. Yes, so George, welcome. And yeah, there was a first question to you. How do you feel about the game? What were your first impressions? And you are the first lucky winner. So what did you feel when you found out that you would play a game, that you got the right to play a game versus the top Grandmaster? Were you happy? How did it happen? And did you play with Grandmasters before?
I was impressed when I learned that I will play with a Grandmaster. Actually, I'm a beginner in chess, so I haven't played before.
So when did you start to play chess in general? When did you learn the rules? And how often do you play the games?
I started in quarantine.
Oh!
My team, my favorite team, organized some lessons, some free lessons, and I started, and now I play chess.
Mm-hmm. How old are you? Tell us a bit about yourself. Are you studying or you are working already?
I'm a student.
Mm-hmm. Which university?
No university. I'm at high school.
High school. Okay, so pretty young chess player.
Yeah.
And what are your plans for the future? Whom do you want to be? Will you continue to play chess more often?
I will continue playing chess. I like it. And I'm reading a book. So I want to learn the game more.
Nice, very nice. Do you have a chess club in your city? Do you plan to attend it?
I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, okay. In which city are you from?
I'm from Larissa, Grisha.
Nice. So it's not a very big one, but I believe chess is such a popular game that there must be some chess
There is a chess club here in Larissa.
Oh, there is a chess club. So sometimes...
I'm not a member of this chess club.
But do you have some tournaments organized in your city?
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. You just learned about the game, so you didn't know about it before, but we hope you will like and you will continue playing, because I believe chess is a very interesting game and it's good to play chess at any age. And that proves once again, look, this person has just started playing and he was the lucky winner, so I hope he will continue playing chess and the same for everybody. Now about Kirill, because I see you are a bit sad. You are the star here, you are top grandmaster, and you are kind of a first victim of this project, because with you everything started. How was it for you? How did you feel about it?
Yeah, actually, I really like the idea to take part in this event, because I really like the event like Checkmate Coronavirus, the idea of this event. So first of all, I want to congratulate George with the qualification to get the lucky card. And I'm really impressed that the beginner, the guy who just learned chess like a couple months ago, and knows some theory, can play some good moves. So yeah, I feel like really impressed by my opponent.
Yes, I think the opening was very solid, especially the first moves. I mean, before b6, blundering the piece.
Yeah,
but the
yeah,
idea was bishop g4 and queen d7. And I was explaining in my stream that maybe you are a bit scared to play h3 because of the sacrifice on h3.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't want to give some chances, some attack chances for black. So I was trying to play more solid. Actually,
Yeah.
queen d7 is quite clever move, because black also intends to play knight a5 at some point. That's why actually I played a4 to protect from knight a5.
Yeah, that's very clever. Also, a4 is a typical move in the Italian. By the way, I have already mentioned that you are kind of an expert in Italian game, because you have played so many games in Italian. You have shown so many interesting ideas, so many
Yeah, I have
interesting
some
lines.
experience.
Yeah, also on the top level, of course. So, are you about to start the second game?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
But
so maybe
already invited
can-
me to play. So should we start?
yeah, I think you can start the second game. I will mute the microphone here. Good luck to both of the players and have a nice game while I'll comment on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are waiting for the second game to start. Let's see how this one will develop. In the second game, Kirill will play with black pieces, because the first game he played with white. So let's see if they started. Yeah, they did start it, and look how it started with the first move, f4, d5. It's kind of a reverse Dutch, because if you play first move d4 with white and black answers with f5, it's called Dutch, and this is when white starts with f4 first and d5, we see it's reversed, while white is a tempo up. So it's really very interesting start. I see in the chat that there is some echo with Kirill sound. We hope it will be fixed soon. And there is some sound lag. Okay, with this I can't do nothing, I believe, because it's not so easy to fix. So what's happening in the game? D4 was played. Let's go back a few moves, how it goes. D4, well, the drawback of D4 is that, of course, you weaken the E4 square, so very logically that Kirill played bishop f5. Just a second, I will flip the board again, so that we have a better look. Yes, in this game Kirill is with black pieces and George Perdiculos is with white. So d4, bishop f5. As I pointed, black wants to take control over the e4 square. e3 was played, solid. e6, bishop d3, bishop b4. The idea is to play bishop c3 and spoil the structure. That's actually what happened in the game. Knight e4, attacking the pawn. And white is thinking. So white is thinking how to defend. They decide to give this bishop. But look in this position, this light square bishop is much more active. It's attacking the g2 square, g2 pawn, while white's dark square bishop is a bit passive. So at this moment I can already see that black has the advantage. Also, white's structure is a bit spoiled, so these are the drawbacks. But let's take a look how black will exploit it. So knight d7, one may think it's just a development, but another idea of knight d7 is to play knight b6 later on, and perhaps knight c4, placing the knight on a better square. Let's see if Kirill will later on play this maneuver. No, he decided to go for c5 immediately, what is also very logical. I think I can't get rid of all the things I pointed at once, but I'll do it one by one. So c5 was played. Sooner or later black will also play rook c8, creating the pressure on this file. So I believe that in the next moves, also castling, yeah, I wanted to mention it before it was played. It was played and then I spoke about it. So castling was played, and now knight g5. Okay, knight g5, attacking this bishop. I don't think Kirill will give this bishop. Perhaps he'll play knight f6. I was also thinking about just rotating the bishop to g6. The problem is that if now white plays knight e4, black will take on e4, and this knight will have such a beautiful place, such a beautiful square on e4, and no pawn will be able to kick off this knight from e4, while there will be an advantage of this knight over this d2 bishop. The biggest problem of white is actually this bishop, because it's very passive, and this structure, because these double pawns are really serious weaknesses. I have to say that Georgi is playing a very active way. He went for g4. He is not afraid of playing actively with the top grandmasters. He would like to create some attack. The only problem that it's not so easy to do, and more, of course, it's very difficult to mate your opponent when he is so strong. Let me tell you a few words about Kirill. Kirill Alekseenko, he's a strong, very strong and young grandmaster from Russia, St. Petersburg. This year he turned 23. He's peak rating was 27.15, while he is on 26.96 at the moment. At the FIDE Grand Swiss Tournament 2019, which was held in October last year on the Isle of Man, Kirill took the third place on tiebreaks. I believe it was just half a point behind the winners Wang Hao and Fabiano Caruana. And with this result, he became eligible to be chosen as the wildcard nominee for the Candidates Tournament 2020, which was organized this year in March, and then it was suspended. I believe many of you followed Kirill's results at this tournament, and you may recall that despite being a clear underdog, he was not trying, just to make a draw, but he was showing new interesting ideas. He tried to play games which were full of fight. That's some information about Kirill. Let's go back to the game. We see that finally this trade on e4 happened on the board. So knight e4 was played, and now white played g5, but the problem is here that it looks very, very active, but the problem is that it's very difficult to attack. Like, how to proceed now? This pawn is already under attack. If white takes on f6, then I believe queen f6, or perhaps even a rook f6 followed by rook g6 or rook h6, and then queen h4. So there are so many good ideas for black, while what to do for white, I am not sure. If white plays h4, maybe it's the best move in this position. I am not sure. I don't have any engine help because on lichess it's simply impossible, I think, before the game is finished to attack the game with the engine. So I'm just telling you my feelings about the position and how do I see it. Yes, unfortunately rook b5, it was not a good move because it was not threatening anything while the pawn on g5 was taken, and now white is in a very serious troubles. King h1 is the only move, but now there are too many good moves for black. Knight f2 or rook f1 or knight d2. All of them are winning. I don't know which one will be chosen by Kirill. We will see soon. So rook f2, I didn't mention it, but nice. Rook f2 is also, of course, a strong move. Rook g1 is the only move to, make the game a bit longer, but still it's totally hopeless for white. I see there are some people in the chat who wrote that some of you participated actually in a Checkmate Coronavirus tournament. That's really nice to hear about it. Also, thanks for supporting me and supporting the players. It's very nice of you. I really appreciate it. White's position is collapsing. It's the comment message from Tactics in Chess. Yeah, it looks bad, and now white got checkmated on g2. But if we speak about this position, it was really difficult to, try to complicate the matters because the position is just too bad. So something was really going wrong, like almost after the opening. But I mean, considering that Georgi, the player who, he has just learned to play chess a few weeks ago or maximum a few months ago, and look how actually not bad he is playing. I mean, of course, he was playing against a top grandmaster, and it's very difficult to face a top grandmaster, but he came up with interesting ideas. I hope he will learn something from these games, and I really hope he will continue to play chess, because I would like that more people know about chess, and maybe he will later on also teach this game to his friends or just some more people. Now I think maybe we will ask the players to say a few words about this game. What do they think about it? Maybe they will play a couple of more games. That's also possible. I mean, of course, it's we have to arrange this with the players. I'm just waiting for the confirmation in the chat. Yes, Kirill is ready to play a few more Blitz games. If George agrees for that, we will see another couple of games, which is awesome. Waiting for George's reply. Meanwhile, you can also leave your comments in the chat. How do you like the games? And just anything you think about it. Let's see. Yeah, most probably we will play more. We will see more games. We will have to set up the new time control. So we are waiting for the games to start. I've got a question. What's George feeder rating is 1372, which once again it's not a bad achievement for the player who just started to play chess a few months ago. What's happening? I think the players are going to set a new time control. And there will be some more games with a shorter time control, perhaps some Blitz games, I believe once again with some time odds. Seems like the games are starting soon. I'll refresh. Refresh the page. Yeah, this is the page of Kirill Alekseenko. So is there a new game in progress? Not yet. I think the players are challenging each other. There is like some kind of competition who will be the first one to challenge. How does he already have a feeder rating? Yeah, that's a good question. And when you asked that, I am not sure I told you correctly that it was the feeder rating. So maybe it was not the feeder rating, maybe it was some FIDE online rating. I am not sure. I'll have to check it. Because, yeah, obviously, if the player started to play a few months ago, and there were no tournaments, so it was difficult to get the feeder rating. Yes, you're right. Let's see, maybe we already have the new games. Yes, we have it on the board. I'm just refreshing it. Knight f3, so Kirill is playing this game with the white pieces. To make it more clear, I'll flip the board once again. So we have Kirill with white pieces and George with black pieces, and Kirill started with knight f3, g3, yeah, very solid ratty line. And knight c6 was not the best move, because after knight c6 and d4, this knight, it doesn't put so much pressure over the d4 square. If you want to play the knight on c6, you better start with c5 and then play knight c6, because then you are attacking the d4 square in a much better way. Anyway, knight c6 was played. d4 was a good reaction, because after knight c6 quite a serious threat is, okay, not like a very serious threat, but black's idea is to push e5, and so that not to allow e5, white played d4 quicker. Knight f6, bishop g2. e6, castle, bishop b4. Bishop b4, I am not so sure about this move because it's not attacking anything, while if white simply plays c3, maybe a3, doesn't matter, it will just improve white's position, while the bishop has to retreat somewhere to d6 or e7, but better if black did it immediately, because c3 is an improvement for white. What will Kirill play now? One logical idea is to play something like bishop f4, or another idea was to play knight d2, rook e1, and trying to push e4. Bishop f4, castle, knight d2. Kirill is not afraid of this trade, because he believes that this will be doubling the pawns, but then he will get more control over the e5 square, so he was not so afraid. But Georgi played knight g4. I am not sure what was the idea of Georgi, because after knight g4 he's not attacking anything. I think he will just go back to f6. Maybe with knight g4 he wanted to push e5, so yes, there was an idea behind knight g4. It was not actually trying to attack the king, but he was trying to push e5. Or maybe he wanted to play queen f6 and attack this bishop. So these were the ideas, I think, in George's mind. But h3 was played, and now the problem is that, oh, e5! e5, I really like this reaction. Look, e5 was his idea. I am very, very impressed. Maybe it doesn't work, but in general, I mean, look, if white takes on e5 now, then this knight will take on e5, and I believe it will be some improvement for black. But bishop g5 may be the problem, as after f6, d takes e5, and yeah, f6 is weakening the squares a bit. But e5, I didn't expect that. I didn't think that would actually happen in the game. So, bravo, Georgi! That was impressive. Bishop f4, and now the knight from g4 can't retreat to f6, but black can try to take on f3, but then after bishop f3... oh no, maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay, because after bishop f3, if white played bishop f3, we don't have to move this knight immediately as the pawn on d5 is hanging, but we first could take on f4. That's why knight f3 was taken, and now Georgi has to take this bishop, because if he doesn't take, then white will simply take the pawn. Oh no, bishop f5. Oh, bishop f5 was not good, because the knight is under attack and this pawn is also under the attack. Now Kirill will crush. But if Georgi played bishop f4, the position wasn't so clear, in fact. White is better, but not so much. But after bishop f5, yeah, of course, after queen d5, rook f7, queen f5, winning the piece, also this knight is under the attack, so it's very unpleasant. What will Georgi do now? I don't know, but it's very difficult. Maybe he will take on f4 now. No, he doesn't care about his g4 now. Knight. Seems like he decided just to leave it. I mean, Kirill is just taking the pieces. He is not very friendly today. Maybe he will be more friendly with the next opponents. Moreover, I didn't tell you about the format and what will happen today. In fact, there will be 3 opponents for Kirill today, and the plan was that each of them play only 2 games, but these 2 games, the first 2 games, were finished quite quickly, so the players proceeded with some additional blitz games. We are thankful to Kirill, who agreed to play more games, and it's of course more fun. But there will be 2 more opponents. So the second opponent of Kirill will be Grisha Timochov from Germany, and he is rated 2036. So this will be much more challenging, and this match will be played again with time odds, which will be 20 minutes against 10 for Kirill. And the third opponent will be Kamal from Turkey, and he is rated 1994. And surprisingly, the third opponent, Kamal, he decided that he wanted to play with no handicap. So these games will be played with the time control 20 against 20 minutes or 10 against 10. I am not sure, but there will be no handicap, which will be very interesting. What's happening? Okay, Kirill is attacking. He is going for some mate in attack. Oh, it's mate on the board. What can I say? Good fight by Georgie, and yeah, very solid game by Kirill. I think the players will play one more game just to make it, 2-2. This will be logical. Let's see if the players will start a new one. Because, it was not predicted. We didn't know how long the games will last and what will happen in case the players finish their games quicker. Yeah, seems they will play one more game. Let's wait for it. The new game is coming. And after this game, we will have a short break before the next opponent comes. So let's wait. Let's wait for the new game to start. We don't have it yet. Maybe I have to refresh it. Yeah, the game is on. So just a second. Oh, it's 8 minutes versus 8 minutes? Are they going for a long game? They set up the new time control. Well, let it be. We flip the board again. e4, c5, Sicilian, and bishop c4. Well, according to chess rules, it's good to develop the pieces, but particular in this position, the bishop on c4 is, playing bishop c4 is not the best way to develop your piece, because after e6, well pointed by Kirill, this bishop is like hitting this rock of pawns. Moreover, after d5, it may be attacked, so it was better not to place the bishop on c4. Though it was not a big mistake. d3, good. Bishop c4, I would just say it was inaccurate, but it's not the end of the game. The position is still about equal in my opinion. And knight e7. I think Kirill is trying to go for d5, and he wanted to close this e5 in advance. Or maybe his idea is to play knight g6 and develop the pieces in such a way, because maybe after knight f6 he was not ready to face e5. I don't know. Knight e7 was played, and knight g5 was the answer from George. I think we see some knight g5 or knight g4 ideas in every game George is playing. I think that when you're on the beginner level, it may actually work very well for you, but of course when you are playing versus a stronger opponent, it's much more difficult, to just go straight forward and win the game. So h6, and now in the previous game, Georgie didn't want to move this knight from g4. Will he move this knight from g5 now? That's the question. let's see what will be the answer. White is still thinking. Knight g5 was not a good move, and now it's the best just to retreat the knight, perhaps to h3. It's not so stupid. Yes, you put the knight on the rim, but okay, queen f3, it was just a blunder. But knight h3, once again, I'd like to speak about it. Why I think this move is not so bad? Because with knight h3 there is a deep idea behind it. You may push this pawn, and that's why I don't want, not like I don't want to play the knight on f3, but it's also possible to put the knight on h3 and have this idea in mind. It's actually seen very often in all kind of close Sicilian lines when white start the game with first move e4, c5, and then they play knight c3, and then there are these ideas with placing the knight on h3 and then going f4, f5. Queen f3 was played. This is not a good move, because it simply gives the piece. So queen g4. What about taking on c2 now? I feel Kirill will take it, because he's taking everything what is given. Let's see if he will take. No, he didn't take. That's really surprising. That's so surprising he didn't take on c2. I'll have to ask him why he didn't take on c2. Now after bishop b3, this pawn is protected. So what was Kirill's idea? Okay, he's trying to make something in a more sophisticated way. He went for c4, d takes c4, b takes c4. And after bishop c4, will he take it now? Or he will play queen c7? Yeah, queen c7. Okay, I got. He wants to go for the mate. He wants, and he will make it. Yeah, queen h2. I think he will make it. Yeah, it's game over. His opponent, you may see, he is quite surprised by what has happened on the board. But yeah, that's happening from time to time. What to do? Let's have a quick chat with the players. I will ask to unmute the players. Hello guys, thanks for the game. Kirill, congrats with your wins. And George, congrats with your games. I mean, you are facing one of the world's best grandmasters. Don't be disappointed. Of course, it's difficult to play against such a strong player, especially after just a few months of learning chess. I would like to ask you one question. Very often in the games we saw that, today in the games you played something like knight g5 or knight g4. Is this the idea you are trying to make work in your games, or why did you play these moves?
You ask me?
Yeah, George.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
You didn't hear the question? Yeah, I was asking about your knight g4 and knight g5 moves. First of all, congratulations with your games. It was not easy. It was actually very difficult to face. You were playing with one of world's best players, so congrats. I think it was a good experience for you. And the question about the games were like, we often saw you were playing knight g4 or knight g5, these ideas. Did you try these ideas in your previous games?
G4 or G5?
Knight g5 or knight g5 you played in the last game, and knight g4 you played in the previous games.
I play often these moves, but I don't have any special idea.
So you just like, yes, these moves are actually done to, create threats, but they didn't work in these games. So sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. Maybe later on you will actually watch like a part of these streams because I explained some ideas, what was good, what was not good for you. And I really like the some of the moves. I mean, many of them you had some interesting ideas, and I believe you will improve your level and you will continue to play chess. So I just wish you good luck in your next games and next tournaments.
Thank you very much, and also thank you for the opportunity that you gave me to play with a grandmaster.
Thank you so much. We are going for a short break and we will see Kirill playing versus the next opponent. We will be back shortly. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, we are back to the games, and we see that we have the new opponent, and now Kirill Alekseenko is playing versus Grisha from Germany. His nick is just trying my best. I think it's a very nice nick, and the first game he's playing with white pieces, and we may see that this player is already playing better. Yeah, okay, his rating is much higher. I believe he had already an opportunity to play many tournament games, but we will ask him later about his experience. Maybe he even faced grandmasters in his career. I really don't know. I don't know about this young guy, so it will be really interested to know about it, and we will definitely speak with him after the game. So let's see how the game started, and it started with the Sicilian, and in this Sicilian, let's go back a little bit. Kirill came out with bishop d7. It's not the main move in this position, but it's the move that definitely deserves attention, and it was played with some strong grandmasters. So basically, black first develops the bishop to d7, and then they play knight c6. They could also start with knight c6, while there are some small nuances. Anyway, bishop d7 is quite playable. Bishop e2, white continues with the classical setup. e5, knight b3, bishop c6, bishop f3, protecting the e4 pawn. And with the bishop on f3, it may look like the bishop is a bad piece, but in fact it's not that bad, because the bishop, he is not protecting the pawn, but he is also supporting the move knight d5. So okay, it's not an active piece, but it's not like a very bad piece, because it has some functions. So bishop e7 was played, castling, a4, very good move. This is against b5. b5 is a usual idea by black, and a4 didn't allow it. Knight bd7, a5 also makes sense, because after knight bd7, very often black wants to play knight b6 and then plays the knight on c4, and on c4 the knight is staying really very well. So a5, and now b5 was played by Kirill, and white is thinking. Once again, we see that this match is also played with time odds. So in the beginning, white had 20 minutes, and Kirill had 10. So now black has a bit more than 9 minutes, while white has a bit more than 17 minutes. Let's see how the game will proceed. Will white take on b6 or not? This is the question. I think they should take, because you know, just to clarify what will happen, because if black takes back with the knight, then this a7 pawn will be weak, while if black recaptures with a takes b6, then okay, we will trade the rooks on a8, and this will be just a normal game. So 11 moves so far, everything seems very solid. Just some technical questions. So white is thinking, and white played knight e2. This is a bit puzzling, because I am not sure why black couldn't take on e4, though I wasn't sure if to take with the knight or to take with the bishop. This was also possible, but with the knight maybe it's even better. Then this knight will go to f6 to support this knight, and then I believe the idea is to play d5 later on. So I mean, giving this central pawn was not the right idea. This was not the right idea, but there was some idea, so let's see what will be played. Knight c3 was played. Yeah, now knight c3, beta c3, but now also white's structure is a bit spoiled. Yeah, he realized he blundered right after moving the knight. It's really cool that we can see the players while watching the games, and we can see the reaction to the moves. If we go back a little bit before the move knight e2, if he played knight d5, that would have been much better, and knight d5 is a typical move. I mean, after bishop f3 you should try to place your knight on d5. But yes, after knight e2 it will be difficult to save this game because he's playing versus Kirill, and Kirill is a very strong grandmaster. Rook c8. Once again, as we already saw this idea in some of the previous games, when when these pawns are on c3 and c2, it's really cool to have your rook on c8, which is attacking all these pawns. But queen b7 is quite awesome, attacking both of these pawns, and it's really dangerous to give this a7 pawn, as this a passed pawn will become very, very dangerous. But Kirill doesn't think so. He took the pawn on c3. What will happen if white takes on a7 now? Yeah, on a7 it was much better to take the pawn on a7 rather than to take on b5, because when you take the pawn on a7 you have this a5 pawn which can actually create some problems. What about playing a6 right now, or moving the queen to e3 first and then playing a6? I think if I played with white, I would have tried to play a6. I am not sure it would work, but it's like the a5 pawn is like the main trump in white's position, so you have to try to make some use of it. Queen b7, not bad, attacking the pawn and also clearing the way for this pawn to promote. Good, really well played. I think all the moves except knight e2 were really good by these moves were really good by Grisha. Queen c7 was played. I think now white didn't really have time to play queen a6 now, because then black would have just traded the queens and play rook b8, attacking the pawn. So queen b5 was played, but can we save it now? Yeah, queen a4, very good, because in case white played queen d3, then rook c3, attacking the queen and attacking the knight. So queen d3 was not working, therefore queen a4 and rook c3 anyway, attacking the knight. I have a question. Could we try to play a6 now? Looks I'm very curious about it, because if black takes the knight on b3, then we could play a7. But maybe after a6, black could have taken with this rook a7, and then no, then knight b6, then queen a8. I mean, a6 at this moment was really a very interesting move. Knight d4 was played instead. Knight c5. Queen d1 and d5. Let's see now if a6, because if we try to play knight b1, attacking the rook and attacking the pawn, let's just go back, then there is a rook d3 and black can defend it. Knight f3 was played, so how will Kirill defend this d5 pawn? e4. Yeah, I'm thinking about e4 or d4. e4 was played. If knight d4, then rook d3. This is the problem, winning the knight. So the knight has to retreat to some passive square, to d2 or e1. I am not sure which move will be played. what he's thinking. White, I mean, Grisha, he looks a bit disappointed by what has happened. Yeah, knight d4 was played, but after rook d3, I'm not sure how he's going to save his knight. I think there is simply no way to save it. Yeah, seems very bad. So basically there were I mean, the main mistake was playing knight e2 and giving the e4 pawn, because given the central pawn, it's not just a pawn, but I would say it's even 1.5 pawn if we can calculate this way, because central pawns usually have more value, except for the positions when there are some strong post pawns. Queen g4 was played. Now rook d4, and unfortunately there is no bishop b2, trying to create pressure over the diagonal, because simply this rook is controlling this square. Bishop f4 is still possible, but bishop f4 will simply be met with bishop d6. So at the moment it's like white is a piece and a pawn down. What is good news for Kirill, but bad news for Grisha. What to do? It was his first time. He was the second lucky winner of Checkmate Coronavirus tournaments, of Checkmate Coronavirus lottery. Let's see what he will play today, because he has some ideas, and he can come up with some ideas. So I think he is trying to make some rook a3. Yes, I was really looking forward to see what will happen, and here I got the answer. Rook a3 played with the idea to move the rook on g3. Well, I understand that normally it's just winning for black, but white is trying to complicate the matters. Knight d3, yes, covering this file, so rook g3 will not be possible now, while the rook on a3 is under the attack. Bishop h6 still, yes, white is trying. The most important is to keep on trying and try to find some interesting ideas. Bishop f6. Kirill surprisingly didn't blunder the mate. Yes, look at this serious face. I mean, Kirill, whatever happens in the board, he's just, you know, very serious. He doesn't care what's happening. Rook d3, you see, I mean, there is some sacrifice which I believe Kirill doesn't take so seriously, but he's still very serious according to his face. E takes d3. Yes. This is also very important, to be focused until the game is over, because sometimes you have a huge material advantage and then you just think like it's over with any move, and you simply lose some of you simply miss some of your opponent's ideas, and sometimes even lose the games which were winning. This game is over. In the end, there was this cute tactics. Rook c1, and black took on c1 first, and then played rook g4. And it's a huge material advantage for black. That's why white resigned. Let's check if the players will start the new game immediately, or we will first take them for a short interview. I'll ask about it, and I am waiting for the confirmation. Would be really cool to hear players' thoughts or the game. So, yes, so we are going for a short interview with the players. Hello everyone again. Hi Grisha. Hello Kirill. How was this game for you, Grisha? Your first impressions. First of all, congratulations with being the lucky winner of Checkmate Coronavirus project. How was it for you? Tell us a bit about your impressions.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really good, but I had no chance from move 10. I didn't know what to do anymore. So, yeah.
How was this game? Did you like it? Was it your first game versus a Grandmaster, or you have experience playing with Grandmasters before?
I don't know. Maybe I played some in the coronavirus event, but I don't remember. I played some title players, but yeah, it was nice. But I'm so low rated that I don't know. I don't really see the difference between a grandmaster and an international master, I think, because yeah, I'm far away from that.
Mm-hmm. And how did you know about that you got this right to play versus a Grandmaster? What did you feel at that moment?
Yeah, it was really good. Playing somebody who's one of the best in what he's doing is always good. It
Cool.
shows.
And when did you start playing chess? Was it long ago? How many tournaments have you played?
I just play for fun, but I started 2 years ago in Australia. I met some people there playing chess, and yes, I liked it because you can learn so much about it, and yeah, you can never learn enough about it. There's always the next step. That's what I liked about it. But right now I'm trying to learn a new game, Japanese chess. It's also really interesting. So everybody who's watching, you can try it. It's really fun.
Okay, now I think we have the logical question to Kirill. Kirill, can you play Japanese chess? Because once I was taught the rules, but all the pieces seem to be so similar to each other. I couldn't,
actually I can play. Yeah.
Oh, you can play it.
I know rules. Yeah.
So what about
I
playing?
played, I guess, about 10 games at all, so I know rules.
So do you like it? Maybe you can play one game of Japanese chess, but I'm not sure Lee Chess has this access to Japanese chess game.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like in Japanese chess, I mean, the game can last too long.
Yeah,
It can be like forever, because the board has more squares, so yeah.
It's 9 to 9, yes, or I'm mistaken?
Yeah.
It's 9 to 9, and the pieces are set in 3 rows. 3 rows for white, 3 rows for black, but not completely on each square. It's a bit complicated.
It's like Crazy House in Lee Chess. And play with the pieces you get from the opponent.
Oh, yeah.
Really strategical as well.
Okay, really cool. And Grisha, how many tournaments did you play before? I mean online tournaments, not offline. I mean offline tournaments, not online.
Offline, never. But online, just the coronavirus.
So you played only this tournament, yes?
Yes. I'm really not that good in chess. It's just a hobby, but I enjoy it.
That's really great, really nice, and I am very glad that you like chess and you like the game. Perhaps you will teach how to play chess your friends or your relatives, because we all wish that more and more people know about chess as it's a real and awesome game. So are you all ready for the next game to start?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can start, I guess.
Yeah, you can start. Okay, good luck to both of you. Have a nice game.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So the players will start with the second game, very short, very soon. I think they have already challenged each other, so I'll just refresh the page. No, I don't see the game live. Maybe it's still about setting the time, because Kirill has to give himself 10 minutes and to give 20 to his opponent, and yeah, the game is on. Here we are with the second game between Kirill Alekseenko and Grisha. D4 was played by Kirill, and what will be the opening? Soon we will get an answer. It's still not clear. Grisha was hesitating, finally he came up with a d5, and Kirill played bishop f4. He's gone for a London system. The London system, which is becoming more and more popular, even on the top level. Even Magnus Carlsen, a world champion, has played many times, has tried it many times. So e3, c5, and now the question, will white take on c5 or play c3? And white decided just to go for c3, something very solid. Knight c6, knight d2. Seems like white doesn't want to hurry with playing knight f3, but after bishop g4, white has to define to determine the plans. If they go with knight f3, if they go with queen b3, if they go with f3, I am not sure what will be chosen, but okay, knight f3 on the board. e6. Grisha is playing quite well. His position is pretty much okay. And now Kirill is thinking. Kirill! What is Kirill thinking about? Does he want to go for h3? Or will he try to play queen b3 or bishop b5 or queen a4? Queen a4. Maybe Kirill will play knight e5 now or after trading the bishop on d6. So queen a4 had this idea, or queen a4 also the idea maybe to play bishop b5. In general, the idea is to use this pin and to put more pressure on the knight on c6. He decided to take on c5 first. And after bishop c5, one more point I'd like to mention. You see that white took on c5 only after black played bishop d6, because if they took immediately, black wouldn't have lost the tempo. But if after queen f4, bishop d6, d takes c5, this bishop takes the c5 pawn now, it will mean that black kind of lost the tempo by playing bishop d6 first and then taking this pawn. So it's very important to wait for this bishop to move somewhere and only then take the pawn on c5. The same ideas are in Queen's Gambit accepted lines, when black takes on c4 only after the bishop from f1 moves. Okay, knight e5, castle, knight g4 was played. Kirill didn't want to take the pawn on c6, it was hanging. But if white take this pawn on c6, black can get some kind of counter play by playing rook c8. And then the problem of white is that white's pieces are a bit undeveloped yet, and white hasn't castle, so Kirill just preferred to have a safer play, and now he just went for bishop e2. He didn't want to calculate all these lines with knight c6, although maybe it was quite okay to take the pawn. We have the position on the board. Bishop e2 was played, now this knight is hanging. It would be good if black doesn't miss it. e5. Comparing to the previous game where we saw the same idea, I don't think e5 works good now, because white may simply take this knight, and if black takes the bishop, we take the pawn, and white is simply pawn up. That's why I don't believe e5 was a good move. If I played with black, I would have just played knight f6. Yes, Kirill did take the knight on g4, the bishop on f4 was taken, queen takes f4, and now white is a pawn up. But another problem of black's position is that the pawn on d5 is also weak now. So it's not only that black is a pawn down, but the additional problem is the d5 pawn, which will be attacked very soon. In the next moves, white will move the queen somewhere so that it's not blundered, then castle. I'm not sure if castle short or castle long. In my opinion, castle long is also very interesting. Maybe bishop e2, yeah, because after knight e5 there was the problem with knight d3. Also, there could be some tactics with, let's say, if white castle, then queen h4 or b5, you know, trying to deflect the queen and then to attack the bishop this way. But yeah, bishop e2, pairing all these ideas. Queen g5, attacking the pawn, but g3, just very solid. And the next move is castling. Maybe not. Maybe the next move will be f4 if black doesn't notice this idea. But if black does, then let's say after queen e7, I hope finally we will see a castle. And the question is which castle? I think castle in short. Short castle. Castle in short, yeah. Queen f5, yes. Black saw the idea that f4 was a threat. So which castle? Which castle? Chat, what do you think? Which castle is better? Castle in long or castle in short? Chat is thinking. Kirill is thinking. Okay, the first answer was long. Castle in short, okay. 50-50, but castle in short happened on the board. I don't, yeah, the problem was that castling alone in this point was not a good idea. I mean, the idea in general was good, but at this particular position it was not so good because the pawn on f2 was hanging. That's why I kind of asked the question to the chat to, you know, have some interaction, and thanks for the answers which you wrote. But castling short is actually a stronger move, and we see g5 on the board. I mean, Kirill has very, very sharp opponents who prefer to go for some complications, who like to attack. Because we saw the previous guy, he was trying to attack Kirill, and this one, Grisha, he also went for g5, while after e4. He may have some problems because g5 is actually weakening black's skin. If d takes e4 happens in the game, then knight e4 will be an answer, attacking the bishop. But in general, why e4 is correct, because when someone is trying to play g5, you know, without some serious background, without really having pieces well placed and ready for an attack, then of course it's good to open the files, because after that black kings will not feel safe. Queen h3, not bad, but how to mate on h2? We can't even, I mean, if there was no bishop on e2, then we could play knight g4, but there is this bishop and there is this queen, and they are controlling the g4 square. So there is no way to h5. Yes, h5, but still knight g4, the knight on g4 will be taken with bishop g4. But h5, perhaps black was trying to think about h4. While Kirill played knight e4, attacking the bishop and attacking this g5 pawn, what is of course unpleasant for black. If bishop e7 is played now, defending the g5 pawn, then d6 will come, and the bishop will have to go to d8, but the bishop on d8 is very passive. Difficult to suggest something good for black, because black is already 2 pawns down. But let's see. Let's see how Grisha will play here and how Kirill will try to convert his material and positional advantage. So what will happen now? If not bishop e7, if let's say rook a8, then the problem is that this pawn is unprotected. So basically bishop e7 is the only move that can defend the bishop and the pawn on g5 at the same moment. But when the position is not good, it's like all the moves are not that good. g4 was played. What will happen? Aha! This was a very nasty trap. The idea was that if white takes on d6 now, then knight f3, bishop f3, d takes f3, and there is no defense against queen g2. So it was a really very good move by, I mean, good try. Not a good move because there is the problem with knight g5, but a good try by Grisha. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Kirill played knight g5, and now the queen is trapped on h3. But sometimes when the position is good, you have to look for some traps, because if you don't do anything, then you will be just lost. So in this position, I would rather say that g4 was a good try rather than a blunder. And yeah, good that Grisha found this trick. So after knight g5, there was one move more. Knight f3 was played, but after bishop f3, black resigned, because if black takes the bishop, white takes the queen. So knight g5 was a good move by black. We will have a short interview, another one, and then we will go on with the third player. So let's talk to the players about their impressions about this game. Hello guys, hi again, glad to talk to you. Once again, how was this game for you? In the end, Grisha, we saw you were trying to trick your opponent. You played g4, and there was a very nice trick because white couldn't take the bishop. You were trying to mate. And in case you played with a bit weaker opponent, this may have worked. I mean, I think sometimes it worked in your games. And I see you're happy about your experience. So how was this game? What you liked, what you didn't like? Just please switch on your microphone because otherwise we won't be able to hear you. Grisha? Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Again, yeah, I was hoping for e4, e5, and the Stafford gambit. I watched a video of Eric Rosen before on some traps in the Stafford gambit, and I was hoping to trick him like this, but of course he doesn't fall for it. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a pity, but yeah, Kirill, he's avoiding all the traps today. Kirill, how was this game for you? I believe that the second opponent was a bit stronger and much more trickier than the first one. Yeah, your impressions about that?
Yeah. What I liked in my both opponents that they both wanted to checkmate me in any positions.
Yeah, they
So-
don't care that you are a top
Yeah,
player,
yeah.
not at all. Doesn't matter, and this is good.
Especially Grisha. Okay, the second game, then I took upon. Yeah, he got some compensation. Maybe instead of g5, he could find some moves to continue the initiative. And in the first game, I was pretty sure that white is better. Right before you landed upon on e4.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe you
Any
could
move
even...
instead of knight e2, white must be a little bit better.
Yeah, can you give some tips for Grisha? Because I also believe that if not about knight e2, I mentioned about 8x b6 or knight d5 as the ideas, but
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
you as a stronger player can give better tips to Grisha.
Yeah, I would recommend probably, of course, to like read some most popular books like Kasparov and some others. But as my like special recommendation is to study some compositions, some tricks compositions, because as we saw in our games, you're always trying to trick me to find a cute idea in the position. So you would definitely like to solve some puzzles and compositions.
Yeah, and regarding the openings, I think Grisha would better play some more open lines, more sharp lines. What do you think, Kirill?
Yeah, definitely. He played like two really good openings. To move 10, I guess it was like one of the main lines in the opening. So he definitely knows what he plays. He definitely works. So yeah, if he will work a little bit more, he will be a better player than now.
Okay, thank you, Kirill. Thanks for your tips, Grisha. Thank you for the games. Congrats with your being the lucky winner of Checkmate Coronavirus project. I wish you good luck in the next games and all the best in life, of course. If you are interested, you may also watch this video, which is on my Twitch channel and which is also on FIDE YouTube channel. I mentioned some ideas which you may later use in your own game so that you don't repeat the same mistakes. And we will go for another short break. And we will be back with the third player, with the third match for today very soon. Stay tuned. See you soon.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello everyone again. We are back with the matches and we have the third player. This will be the last player for today. And the third player is... just a second. The third player is Kamal from Turkey, and as I mentioned before, this player wanted to play with no handicap. So these matches will be that each player has 15 minutes, no handicap, new games. Kirill is playing the first game with black pieces, and it started with Rossolimo line in the Sicilian opening. So it started with e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5. I played many games in this line myself, and the results were not so bad, so you may check my games and try to learn something from them. e6, one of the main moves. The other possibilities and the other popular moves are g6. Some other moves like d6, knight f6, knight d4 or queen c7, they are seen more rarely, but of course they should be considered and I should know how to react to them. So e6 was played, bishop takes c6, b takes c6, d3. Let's speak about this trade. White gave the bishop for the knight, but for this, black's pawn structure is a bit spoiled. Knight e7, queen e2, d6, and a very good reaction by white. White played immediately e5, because if now there is this trade of the pawns, then these pawns will feel very lonely and they will be the targets, the objects to attack. If white didn't play e5 in this position, then black would have played e5 from their side and their pawn structure will be just very solid. So e5 was a good choice. And knight f5 played by Kirill. So if white takes on d6 now, as I mentioned, black's pawn structure will not be so good, but black will try to play for two-pair bishop advantage and something, I mean some plan maybe, you know, to take with the bishop, then to play, to make the castle, then to push f6, e5, perhaps bishop e6, bishop d5 will come next. I mean it's of course a long-term plan, but in general black will try to play actively while white will try to stabilize and to exploit these weaknesses. I have to get rid of all these arrows. I don't know how to make it with one click. E takes d6 was played. And now let's wait. Let's wait for Kirill's decision if he will take with the bishop. I think he will take with the bishop. Yeah, he did take with the bishop. I have already told you about black's plan. What can be white's plan? White's plan is obviously to castle at some moment, maybe even now. And then I believe white would, speaking about this knight I think will go to d2 and then it will decide if to move to c4 or to e4. This bishop, it's not so clear where it will go. Perhaps it will stay on c1 for quite a long time because it's really difficult to find a better place for it. You may think that e3 is a better place, but on e3 sometimes it's not placed so well, it's not attacking the c5 pawn, so I prefer to keep the bishop on c1 first and then then react according to black's plan. So if I played with white, I would have played knight d2. Let's see if white will make the same move. Knight c3 also looks logical, but if white played knight c3, they wouldn't have an opportunity to place the knight on c4 after that. Knight bd2 was played. I think the Turkish player is really playing good up to this moment, very logical. He has a good strategy behind his moves. And let's see whose strategy will actually be better. Will White be able to exploit the problems of Black's pawn structure, or will Black be able to use the two bishops pair advantage? Kirill is thinking very deep. We can only see his hair on the screen. We can't see his reaction. But he played f6 and knight e4 was played. Yeah, knight e4. I think it was also interesting to go with knight c4, but knight e4 is also very reasonable. Knight e4 followed by bishop e3, and now the pawn on c5 is under the attack. Up to now things are very unclear. And Kirill is thinking how to play, how to develop the pieces. Will he play e5 now? Now he decided to go for bishop e7. He decided to keep these bishops. And after bishop e3, how will he defend the c5 pawn? Perhaps he will just go queen b6 or just knight d4. After bishop e7, and if bishop e3 is played now, he can go for knight d4. With the bishop on d6, he didn't have this opportunity. b3. Nice move. Maybe the bishop will go to a3, but if the bishop comes to a3, then Black has queen a5 attacking the bishop. But the bishop may also be developed to b2. Not a bad place for the bishop, though if Black plays e5, this bishop will hit this wall. Will e5 be played now? I think e5 is a good move. e5 was played by Kirill. And will White play bishop b2 or bishop a3 now? Or bishop e3? In general, I prefer Black's position, to be honest. Because, you know, if there was no pawn on c2, and we could take some pawn, let's say, from e5, then it would be much more clear what to do for White. White would have played bishop e3, rook c1, and attack these pawns. While when this c file is closed, then it's not so easy to attack the c5 pawn. Okay, there can be some plans like to play bishop e3, then queen d2, queen c3, but all this is, I mean, this takes quite a lot of time, and Black will simply put the knight on d4. So I don't really know what to do. Maybe another idea is to play c3, then rook d1 and try to push d4, but that's also not so easy. Bishop e3 was played, and knight d4. I think knight d4 was Kirill's idea, but will he play it now? About this I am not sure, but knight d4 looks nice. Knight d4 was played. White can't play... Okay, it's bad to go queen d2, because then knight f3, d takes f3, and White's structure will be very much spoiled. Queen d1 looks very passive, but maybe it's the best move. While if White takes on d4 with the knight or with the bishop, then Black will take with the c pawn, and these pawns will not be the problem anymore. And Black will simply have a two-pair bishop advantage for free. So it looks like Black's strategy was better. And white had to do something before because they were too slow with all these maneuvers. I really prefer black's position at the moment. So bishop d4, knight d4, or moving the queen. Waiting for the moves. Queen d1 was played. As I said, perhaps it's the best move, but it's very sad if you had to go queen e2 and then you have to go queen d1 in this very position. But also bishop g4, if we increase the pressure, bishop g4 was played. If we increase the pressure on this knight, then it's a real problem. I mean, bishop d4, c takes d4. If we wanted to play that, then it was better to play it immediately without moving the queen to d1. Otherwise, the only possibility, I mean, one more, which makes sense, in my opinion, is to play knight ed2. But knight ed2, okay, all the pieces there, knight ed2 was played, but all the pieces are going back, and now queen d5 can increase the pressure once again on the f3 knight. Seems like black's position is improving move by move. But materially speaking, it's equal at the moment. So the game goes on. What is Kirill thinking about? Is he thinking about playing queen d5? Or maybe he is thinking of playing queen e8 and then playing queen h5? I don't know. I myself prefer queen d5. Maybe just queen d7, some simple move also possible. Maybe Kirill is thinking about f5, some active options. Some active actions which he learned from his previous opponents. Or maybe g5. Doesn't make much sense now, but after seeing all these games today... Kirill in deep thoughts. f5. Wow. Things are changing. f5 was played. So maybe, in fact, Kirill changed his plan a little bit. Maybe he's trying to go for e4 on the next move if white doesn't do anything. I mean, d takes e4. Look at this idea: f takes e4, f take d take e4, d takes e4, f takes e4, and then this rook will be active. h3. So bishop h5 or no? I think bishop h5. Just keeping all the threats. I'm thinking about bishop h5. What is Kirill thinking about? Kirill may have his own thoughts on it. Maybe he's trying to calculate some sacrifices with taking on f3 and then f4 or something of this kind. Or maybe he's thinking of taking knight takes f3, and after knight takes f3 only then to go bishop h5, and then it's not knight f3 was played. Okay, I'll explain you my idea. Yeah, and now e4 is threatening, and this threat is maybe more dangerous than without the knights, than with the knights. I mean, when the knights were on the board, the knight on d4 and knight on d2. So bishop h5. Well, now if black plays e4, white can take, black takes, white take with this rook or with another rook, and then f takes e4, and this is bad for white. So white has to do something, but if white moves the queen, the problem is where to move the queen. Maybe queen e2. Because the idea is that after e4 I want to take and check. Still there are some problems, but maybe it's the best. Because if the queen moves somewhere, let's say to e1 or... Okay, rook e1 was played, now we have to calculate. What's happening after e4? If e4, d takes e4, queen d1, because if f takes e4, then white has queen d1, and then they move the knight. Okay, bishop d6 was played. That means Kirill didn't want e4, but once again, e4, d takes e4, queen d1, rook a d1, f takes e4, and it's pinned, but if after all this the bishop moves somewhere, then e takes f3 will be met by rook e7. Deep idea by the Turkish player. That's why bishop d6 was played first to prepare the idea of f4, and now white has to come up with something else, maybe with queen e2, which I mentioned before. What will white plan? What will white play? Bishop d2, preventing e4. Now black can play something like queen c7, then rook a8, and then trying to push e4. Or queen f6 or queen d7, but I prefer queen c7. I like this place for the queen. Queen c7 played. So black's idea is clear. This pin is it's like a headache for white. They always have to take care. They can't move the queen, and it's very difficult to get rid of it. To be honest, I'm not sure what's the best way to do it. Bishop c3 played, rook e8. Nice. I think now finally white has to move the queen somewhere, because e4 is very nasty, very unpleasant. Queen d2. Finally, white decided to get rid of this pin, but now what's happening after bishop f3? D takes f3. White's structure next to the king is not good anymore. I mean, Kirill played e4, but I thought of playing bishop f3, g takes f3, and f4. And then something like queen d7, followed by rook f5, rook h5. This also seemed to be very good for black. Instead, Kirill went for e4. Maybe it's simpler and stronger. Knight g5, the favorite move of Kirill's opponent, can't be played now because of bishop f4. Knight h2, this square is controlled. Knight h4 is the move you don't really want to do. But maybe there is... maybe you have to play knight h4 now, or after d takes e4, f takes e4, and then knight h4, simply because there is no place to where the knight can go. The best would be to go to g5, but it's not possible. D takes e4, f takes e4. Kirill is still thinking. Maybe he's... No, okay, f takes e4, no surprises. So now again, knight g5 will be met by bishop f4. Oh, bishop a5. Not bad. Was having maybe now just to play something like queen b8. Just queen b8 and forget about... And just to say that the bishop on a5 is out of play. Keeping all the threats. If queen b8, rook d1, then bishop f4. So it's not possible. Maybe Kirill is also thinking about queen e7, but I'm not sure about this line. Knight g5, bishop f4. Maybe it's also good for black. Queen e7. Okay, maybe queen e7 is stronger. If there is no knight g5, then maybe queen e7 is stronger. But what about some queen g5? What about this move? Knight h2. Knight h2 may be met by queen e5. And where to move this knight? And you don't really want to play g3. White is down to 2 minutes. Kirill has more than 5. So Kirill is controlling the time. Has some advantage. But once again, this player, a Turkish player, Kamal Yildirim, he wanted to play with no time odds. So they started the game with 15 minutes each. And Kirill is thinking. Kirill didn't play queen e5 immediately. Why not? Maybe he's searching for something better. I'm not sure about this queen e7 move. Why didn't he play queen b8? Then there would be no... I mean, here, let's say, if queen b8, there is no knight g5 because of bishop f4. There was no knight h2. I don't know. Okay. Queen e7, knight e2, bishop f4 was played. Queen c3. Oh, queen c3. What about bishop e5 now? If queen c4 check, then we have bishop f7. And if queen e4, which may seem that there is a pin and black can't take on e1 because white will take on e7. But after queen c4, bishop f7, queen e4, black would take on h2 and win the rook by taking on e4. We see these moves on the board. Bishop f7, now queen e4 is not possible. So the queen has to move to some other square and then black takes this rook. Will Kirill take it? I think Kirill will take it and then push c4, just to get rid of these pawns. Let's see if Kirill will do that. Take, and c4, c4, c4. Go. No, e3. I wanted to play c4 because I don't like these two pawns. Moreover, after c4 we create another threat, which is to play queen e5, attacking both of these pieces. I really like c4, but c4 was not played. Kirill played e3. Well, he's trying to get rid of this e4 pawn because it's also kind of weak. Rook e1. And now I think he will take on f2 and then just move the queen somewhere. Kirill already has material advantage, which is he is already an exchange up, but still, he's taking every move very seriously. He's taking on each move, because he's trying to find the best decision. He's not satisfied with just playing something and having an advantage. He's always trying to find the best move, and this is the approach of the top players, so you have to be focused and careful until the very end. Queen e2 and finally c4. Maybe Kirill just heard my thoughts a bit later than no, just kidding. So we may see the check on c5. We may see c takes b3. No, I don't think c takes b3 will be played. But yeah, some queen move, queen d6. Knight f3, and now bishop d5. Maybe. Or bishop d7 or bishop f7. What about that? We may see that behind Kamal there is a number of cups in the background. It would be really interesting to know if these cups were won in the chess events, or maybe Kamal is also taking some other sports. I'll ask him about it. By the way, prepare your questions for Kirill, for Kamal. I hope we will have an opportunity to speak with both of them and to ask different questions, so just get ready. Kirill may take on f3 now and play queen g3. White's only hope in this position is to create some fortress, but that will be very difficult to do. Please don't play queen f3. Queen f3 was a big blunder because of rook f2. That's why Kirill took another pawn, which is much better. And now g6, b takes c4. Again, not taking on f3, but attacking the c4 pawn. Rook d2. Rook d2 was met by queen e3, and now white resigned. A very tough game, a very instructional one. I really liked it because both of the players were coming with their own plans, and they were trying, to compete who will be quicker with his own plan. So I think now we'll have a short interview. I am looking forward to ask the players some questions about this game. I just have to know if the players are ready. Kamal, could you please switch on your microphone? Oh, thank you. Hello, Kamal. Hello, Kirill, for the 5th time today, or maybe more. Congratulations for this game. This was a very tough one. It was the battle between two strategies. White was trying to play for strategical points, while Black was trying to play for two bishops advantage. Kamal, how did you feel about the game? What do you think about it? How was it for you to face one of the top grandmasters? I think the players didn't see. They didn't hear my question, so once again, hello guys, congratulations on this game. My first question is to Kamal. What are your impressions about the game? How did you feel about it? And how was it for you to play against one of the world's best grandmasters?
Yeah, I think it was great. I was very excited and impressed when I learned that I will play him. And yeah, I think I fought well.
I think you played quite well and your strategy was very interesting. Maybe now Kirill will tell us a bit more about this line in general, about the advantages and disadvantages. And what do you think, Kirill? What was White's mistake?
I think they have to take somewhere on d4, maybe.
Before Queen d1, there was a possibility.
They could play a move before. Give me a sec.
We could see bishop e3, knight d4 or move 13, and then White could take on d4 immediately, because after queen d1, bishop g4, there was this unpleasant
they
pin.
could take with knight d4, cd4, and bishop d2. I thought this.
Yeah, I also think this was a better option.
To be interesting for White, they will push f4. Then knight on e4 stands quite good. But I found a nice trick after knight d4, cd4, bishop d2. I was going to play a5.
Just a second, I'll show this line on the board. Knight d4, c takes d4, bishop d2. You were going to play
a5.
a5.
Yeah, it looks a little bit out from the center of the board, but the idea is after f4 I can play f5, knight g3 for example, and then I have e4, and after d takes c4 I have bishop a6. I gave space for my bishop on a6.
So that's why, yeah, you need a5 so that the rook would protect the bishop, and then you have this idea of bishop a6. Really nice, cute one. I showed it on the board for our viewers. Thank you, Kirill. One more question for Kamal. I see there are cups behind you. Are these cups achieved for your chess victories, or are you taking some other sports as well?
Yeah, from chess.
From chess, amazing. Yeah. So you have been playing chess for a very long time, yes?
Yeah, for 6 years.
6 years. How old are you now?
14.
14 only, so you're still in school, yeah?
Yeah.
So were you the champion of Turkey in some age category?
Yeah, I actually live in Cyprus, North Cyprus, but my FIDE is Turkey.
Okay, so you're playing the local tournaments there.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nice. Did you have opportunity to play with the grandmasters before in your life?
Yeah, last year I played Andrei Sumet. I lost, but yeah, it was a good experience.
Yeah, Andrei Sumet is the player from Ukraine, my compatriot, so I know him very well.
Yeah.
Glad that you had an opportunity to play with him. He is a strong grandmaster, rated about 2600.
Yeah.
Yes. And how was it for you? How did you get to know that you got the right to play versus a grandmaster? You got an email or you checked it by yourself?
Yeah.
And what were your first feelings when you found it?
Yeah, I was very excited, and my brother checked the email, but he couldn't play. Then he gave me the chance to play.
Okay, nice. So your brother is also playing chess, right?
Yeah, but he's not very good, but yeah.
Is he older or younger brother?
He is older than me. He's 20 years old.
And who is stronger?
Me.
You're stronger. Okay, cool. So Kirill, you see, you were a bit unlucky because you played with a stronger opponent, but
yeah, unfortunately me.
I think it's fortunately because it proves that chess is played by players from any countries, from for any age, for any level. So it's really cool. Are you ready to start a new game?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So please challenge each other. The new game is starting soon. Here it is. And e4 by Kirill, the same move that was played in his first game. d4, d5, French. French with knight d2, very solid. d takes e4, knight e4, this is Rubinstein line. Knight d7. Yes, we see that the third player is actually the strongest one. He knows the theory. He is familiar with many strategical ideas and plans in the middle games. So he's really playing quite good. And he's a very experienced player comparing to the previous two, because he has already been playing chess for 6 years and he's only 14. So we hope he will continue with chess and he will have much more cups behind him when we have a chance to talk with him next time. Bishop d3, c5, it's still the theory. I think I myself played queen e2 in this position with white. c3 is also very solid. Let's see what Kirill will play. Bishop e3. Good. If c takes d4, it's a big question. Will white take with the bishop or with the knight? Maybe with the bishop. But in general, we see that white is just trying to place all the pieces in the center. They are ahead in development, so black may actually face some problems. They have to develop the pieces very quickly. Knight d5. A typical move in all Rubinstein lines when white plays bishop e3, attacking this bishop. But maybe bishop d2 is just, you know, retreating the bishop, and now c4 may be the threat. Perhaps it's the best to take on d4, and after a knight d4 to play something like bishop c5, because it's not only the development, but it's also attacking the knight, gaining some time piece, trying to gain some time piece. Kirill is thinking if he should take on d4 immediately, or another idea is to play something like knight e5, going for bishop b5 idea and trying to say that, hey, your king is still on the center, be careful with that. Or maybe one more idea is to play queen e2 and just try to finish the development as quickly as possible. Then maybe some ideas with queen e4, that's also very appealing. Knight d4 was played. Kirill went for a simple choice, but the other moves were also interesting. And maybe bishop c5 now, maybe queen b6 now, but black has to be very careful at this point. A bishop e7, this may be too slow. Maybe it's not that bad, but it may be too slow. What about queen g4 or queen e2 now, or queen h5? I don't like so much, but queen g4 or queen e2 I like. Also castle, of course, is very normal, but maybe white can go for something more direct. Yeah, just castle. Kirill prefers some simple plan, castle, castle. Will he go for queen h5 now? Maybe not, because queen h5 just g6. I'll just show queen h5, then just g6. Yeah, c3. c3, maybe then queen c2. Maybe not, we will see. It's not so clear where to place this queen, but the rooks will sooner or later go toward the center. At the moment, this position looks like white is pressing a bit. They are controlling the center a bit better. But still, everything is far from over. Kamal is thinking. He's perhaps thinking about... he played a6. I thought about bishop f6. He could not play e5 in this position because e5 would be met by queen h5, attacking both of the pawns. That's why he preferred a6, queen f3. a6 could... perhaps it was the waste of the tempo because b5, it's still not clear if it's good to go for b5 as knight c6 is the problem. Also a4, attacking this b5 pawn. I'm not sure it's the best. Maybe bishop f6 now, but it was better to play bishop f6 one move earlier. Kirill staring at the ceilings. The only problem in Kamal's development is that this bishop is still undeveloped, but to place it on g7, it's still a bit passive. So queen c7 was played. But black's position is a bit passive. Maybe just rook d1 or rook e1, improving the position. Maybe Kirill will come up with something else. c4 at some moment is also possible. Maybe c4. Rook e1. According to the logics, b6 should be played now. As the previous move, queen c7 was kind of protecting black from knight c6, so now b6 looks quite logical, but b6 the problem is that c4 may come. If b5, then a4 may be the problem. The position is a bit unpleasant for black. Not so clear what to do. One more trick I'd like to mention: when after the queen moved to c7, maybe that's why black actually played knight f6. But the trick I wanted to speak about is that at some moment white may threaten playing knight f5, as after e takes f5, white will take this knight and they will spoil the structure. So maybe that's why knight f6 was played, just not allowing knight f5 at any moment. Let's see what Kirill will play now. Just rook d1 is the problem. Chat, what do you think? What would you play with white? Would you go for rook d1, bishop g5? Bishop g5 was played. What to do for black? e5 at some moment. Or just rook d8. But the problem is how to develop the pieces. b5 can't be played, b6 can't be played as the rook on a8 is unprotected. Rook b8 can't be played because there is bishop f4 pin. So not clear what to do. Queen c5, attacking the bishop. Now Kirill's turn, just bishop h4 or bishop f4. Maybe just bishop h4, something simple. Okay, my face is a bit dark. Well, I'll go to switch on the lights just a second. I think this way it's a bit better. Maybe now it's a bit even too light. Too bright. Okay, I'll switch off one of them. I didn't miss much. It's only one move and Kirill played queen g3. What about some knight h5? Does it work? Playable, but white has bishop e7. The intermediate move, so... And look, knight h5 is attacking the queen and the bishop. While after knight h5, white has this move bishop e7, so that if black takes this queen, white will take black's queen. So white is not losing the piece. The same happens after knight e4. White is on time to take the bishop. Black's move. Not easy to play with black. Much more comfortable with white. All white's pieces are already developed. Well, except for the rook on a1, but it's very easy to develop the rook from a1. Just play rook ad1. While for black, it's not so easy how to finish the development. Black has already been thinking for quite some minutes, I believe. So rook d8, or what to expect? One more idea from white side is to play a rook e5 sooner or later, because with the queen on g3, this rook will be protected on a5. What if black goes, let's say, b5 now? Is it possible? It's possible. The problem may be that white will play queen h4, threatening bishop f6, and queen h7. Okay, finally g6 was played. What's happening if white plays queen h4 now? After queen h4, knight d5, more or less the only move, so that the knight protects the bishop. But there are maybe some tactics after that. Maybe some rook e5. Creating more pressure, or rook e5 now. Okay, rook e5 now I don't like that much. I don't know what Kirill will play now, but the idea is maybe to play queen h4, rook a1, bring the last piece into the game. H4 I don't like much, but it may be also played. Trying to push h5 later on. Rook e5 immediately, I don't think this will be played, because after queen is c7, the rook on e5 is not just doing so much. I think queen h4 will be played, but I'm not sure. Let's give this job to Kirill. To decide. It's like every white's move is leading to some kind of an advantage, but it matters where the advantage would be bigger and where it will be less of it, because you may make some moves and then suddenly all your advantage will be vanished. That's why Kirill is taking his time to find the most precise move. Knight b3, that surprised me a bit. But I believe it's a cool move. Knight b3, attacking the queen. So the queen has to move somewhere. Queen d6 can't be played because we will trade and take the knight on f6. Queen f5 can't be played. Queen e5 can't be played. Queen d5, this is the bad place for the queen, and then rook d1. Queen b4, queen b5 can't be played. If, let's say, queen b6, then we will play queen h4. And then there is no knight d5. Because the bishop is not well protected. With the queen on c5 it was protected, so with the queen on b6 it's not protected. So with the queen, I mean, this knight b3 was a very strong move. I felt there could be something, but I couldn't find something direct, but this knight b3 was very strong. After queen b6, queen h4 was played, as I guessed. Queen d8 and now rook d1. Just bring the last rook. All black's pieces are pinned under the attack, so g6 was actually a mistake. Just rook d1, let's say knight d5. Maybe Kirill is trying to get rid of knight d5, because knight d5 is kind of the next black's move. Maybe that's why Kirill is thinking about something like bishop c4 or bishop e4, I don't know. Let's see. Rook a d1. So now knight d5 looks very logical. And now we will see some massive trades. Queen e7. Maybe just queen e7 and bishop e4. Maybe queen h6, another, queen d4, okay. Trap, this is the trap, be careful. White is threatening to take on d5 and to play queen rook e7, that's why queen f6. But why Kirill didn't take on e7? I really liked taking on e7 and then playing bishop e4. And then knight c5 or knight e5 or rook d6 and rook b6. Well, Kirill went for queen d4, rook f6 and queen f6 and rook e5. Now, once again, rook e5 is the threat, so some move like bishop d7 is not possible now. Kirill just preferred to play with the queens on the board to keep the position more tensed. Knight e7. We see by every move that Kamal is really experienced player. He knows all the easy tricks. He's not allowing any of them. So knight e7 was played. Bishop e4 now. Okay, knight c6 is the threat. That's why I'm proposing bishop e4, which will not allow knight c6, will not allow b5. What about bishop e4? Queen d6 instead. So some knight c6. How will Kirill react to knight c6 followed by rook d8? Kamal is playing very well. He's fighting really well. Rook d8. I think Kirill missed something in his last moves. Especially queen d6 is a bit suspicious. Maybe bishop e4 was simply better. I am not sure, but it's just my opinion. Queen c7, yeah. Queen e7. Kamal wants to go for an endgame. Yeah, finally bishop e4. I was begging so much that Kirill ultimately decided to make this move. Now it's a problem where to move the rook, because if to move it to e8 or f8, that will mean that black will just give the d file. If we trade the rooks on d1, then how to, I mean, it's not how to, it will be just impossible to defend to parry the threat of rook d8, so I don't know what to do for black. Maybe the best is to give the b7 pawn and to play bishop d7, but that actually already means that the position is not good. Rook e8 was played, f4 very quickly. Another idea is to play rook d6 and rook b6. Just like this. So rook d6, I'm expecting rook d6 or king f2. Something of this. Knight a5. I didn't expect that. Knight a5. Maybe Kirill is trying to bring the knight to d6. What if black plays b5 now? Maybe just rook d6 after b5. b6, knight c4. Bishop b7 is not possible. Bishop b7 is not possible because of knight d6 immediately, or bishop b7, rook b7, and then knight d6 fork. b5. Now knight d6 is the possibility, knight e5 is also an option. Even knight a5 is, yeah, knight a5. I thought even knight a5, but for Kirill it was like the best move. Rook b6 very well played. Now rook d6 is not possible. But still the bishop, how to move this bishop? Really very difficult. Maybe a long-term plan can be something like playing king g7 and then knight g8, knight f6 and then bishop d7, but it's very, very long. So before c4, Kirill doesn't allow any counterplay. He doesn't want this rook to be active. So instead he wants to push c5 one day. Maybe even now, as c5, rook b5, bishop c6, there is a nice line. But he can play c5 at any moment. I'd prefer to play c5 now. Maybe Kirill is calculating some lines like c5, rook b5, bishop c6, rook c5, bishop e8, then rook a5, attacking this pawn. I mean, as we saw in the previous game, Kirill is the fan of some long lines and he's always trying to go for the best move. So he started with bishop c6 and maybe now he'll play c5. Maybe not. He can also play g4, and the best square for the knight was to go back to e7. Instead, he preferred g3. He just wants to, that the opponent gets tired of playing this game because it's so passive, and then the opponent blunders at some moment. He doesn't want to go directly into some attack. He wants to screw slowly. A rook e5, was it played with the idea to play rook c5 and rook c7 after that? I like this idea. Look for a rook from e1 moving to c7. Looks nice, isn't it? Rook c5 and rook c7. Just make it. Wow. Good positional play by Kirill. Improving his position slowly, but look, the bishop on c8 is still on c8. And this was the main problem. So what about playing c5 now, then knight c4 and knight d6? Kirill, do you like this idea? Will you play c5? I think it's a good idea. Just c5, knight c4. Maybe Kirill will find something else. Knight c6 instead. Okay. Knight c6 and okay, knight d8, there is rook d8, it's not so easy. But yeah, rook takes b7 and then knight d8 is winning. Take, and it's winning the exchange. Now it's just over. Yeah, just rook c8 or rook d7 or rook d6, everything is good. This pawn. No, I mean Kirill. Oh, what a nice positional game by Kirill. Really a very nice one, but also very good fight from Kamal. I'd like to congratulate both of the players on this game. Personally, I liked it a lot. I hope the viewers liked it too. Now we will have a short interview with the players and let's ask them about their thoughts regarding the second game. Hello, Kamal, could you please unmute your microphone? Yeah, congrats on the game. It was a very good game from both of you. I mean, good positional play by Kirill, but also a very good fight from Kamal. You saw all the little tricks and your only problem was that it was very difficult to develop the bishop from c8. What do you think about this game? Do you play French as your main opening?
Yeah, I usually play with French.
Okay, and you always go for this Rubinstein line, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, if you manage to develop your c8 bishop, which is one of the main problems in this line, everything would be cool. But unfortunately, Kirill didn't allow it at any moment. And I was really impressed, Kirill, by your move knight b3. I think it was just very strong. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time thinking about how can I improve my position.
Yeah, because I was calculating like queen h4, then knight d5 is the problem with the queen on c5, the bishop on e7 is protected. I thought about some, move like rook d1, but knight b3 was really very strong.
Yeah, I thought I can win a couple of tempos. For example, after knight b3, like play queen d5, I have c4 move.
Yeah, or rook d1.
Yeah, also then bishop h6, rook d1.
Yeah, this queen on d5 would be really unpleasantly.
Yeah.
And it would be under a lot of attack, so I mean, placing the queen on d5 is not a good idea. Well, anyway, once again, thanks for the games. I think they were very instructive ones, and I think we will be back with Kirill after a couple of minutes, after a very short break. While for Kamal, I'd like to wish him a good luck in your next tournaments, and I hope that the next time we see you with the video capture, you will have many more cups more behind you. That's what I would like really to wish you.
Thank you. Thanks for the game.
Thank you very much. See you soon. We'll go for a short break and we will be back with Kirill. So please prepare your questions to Kirill. The more interesting questions we will have, the more interesting video we will get. So see you soon very soon. Please, everyone, welcome. Here we have Grandmaster Kirill Alekseenko. Kirill, you have told us about a little bit about your impressions about the game and about your feelings of being the first one to take on the lucky winners. Tell us a bit about yourself. I already mentioned your biggest chess success, taking third place in the Grand Swiss tournament, which gave you the possibility to play in the candidates. How was it for you? Please share your thoughts and feelings about these two events.
Of course, I didn't expect that I will qualify to the candidates when I started Grand Swiss. But I thought, okay, I'm in a good shape. I had a very good result in the World Cup, and also I was doing well in the summer. So I raised about, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 points that period. So I thought, okay, let's play and we will see how it's going. And after 4 or 5 rounds, I understood I can play quite good. I drew with Grisha, also won a couple good games. Yeah, and then after half of the tournament, all my opponents were top 10 players. So it began a completely different tournament, like a super tournament with only elite players. So I had to be much more concentrated. And then after a couple draws, I played against Sergei Karakin. And it was the only chance to pretend for the candidates. So if you want to at least share the first place, you definitely had to win this game. Also me and also Sergei. So before the game, we both prepared some sharp lines. And in the game, it was even much more complicated. So I was lucky to win this game. And the last one, I got Nikita Vitugov, who was living in my city in St. Petersburg. It was a little bit unpleasant pairing. We played for one team in the Russian Championship. So yeah, I couldn't win this game, but anyway, it was interesting. And also I was lucky with tie breaks to get the third place. And still, I wasn't so sure that I will qualify. Because,
yeah, the system is a bit complicated for the wild card. Yes,
because
but
at that point, already 5 places were clear who will qualify, and none of them were Russian. So the idea was that I should play a match against Grisha and Nepomniachtchi, but they both qualified directly. So yeah, I can say they had no chance to invite somebody else because I'm Russian and the tournament is held in Russia.
yeah, I see. Thanks for the inside information about it. I was, of course, following all the tournaments you played in, and I believe that after this stream, more and more people will like your games and they will be following you or your next events. One more question. How did the lockdown change your life? What are you doing these days? Do you keep on being focused on chess, or did you try some other activities?
Yeah, actually, I would say it changed my schedule completely, because usually it was a life from tournament to tournament when you have just several weeks to prepare for the next tournament and have no time to rest, to study. And then you have about half a year completely free. I started to do some things for which I didn't have a lot of time before. Like I started to playing guitar, also reading some books, watching series, learning languages, and also I spend much more time on chess than usually.
Oh, cool. So are you craving to start the new tournaments and looking forward to new challenges, or you actually enjoy this type of life?
Yeah, I enjoy.
So finally, I mean, Kirill, thank you, because I am also enjoying this time, and I found some new hobbies for myself.
Yeah, I can wait a little bit more. It's not a problem.
A little bit more, yeah, agree. One question for the chat, it's out of the topic, but do you like sushi? I mean, it's just a question from the chat and nothing related to that. And what is your favorite food?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't like everything what connected with fish, so I can't say I like sushi. I can eat, but I really don't like it.
And which cuisine is your favorite?
Sorry?
Which cuisine is your favorite? Do you like Italian or
I like
Russian?
Georgian food.
You like Georgian food?
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Well, we will not keep you long here. I know that tomorrow you have 2 matches more, and one of them will be actually quite special, as I was told that you would play with one of your opponents with night odds. Is it true? How excited are you about it? And if yes, do you remember when was the previous time you played with we played a game with a peace odd?
Oh, it's a very hard question. I think the last game I played it, but it was like from the opposite. So I had an extra piece, and my opponent gave me an knight or a bishop, but it was in my childhood many years ago. So I don't remember when I gave a piece up.
Yeah, you know, if I was asked this question, I would also feel, I would also be in some troubles to find the correct answer to that, because I don't remember when it was the last time for me when I played with peace odds. So just to remind all our viewers, Kirill will have another 2 matches tomorrow. The first one starting at 4 p.m. Central European Time versus Bigyan Jimira from Nepal. And the second one at 5 p.m. Central European Time versus John Sotras. So, Kirill, thanks for your time, thanks for your answers, good luck in your games tomorrow, and not only good luck in all your next tournaments.
Thank you very much, see you tomorrow.
See you everyone, bye-bye, thanks to all who was watching this stream today, and see you soon on the new streams. Bye-bye.